Okay. Is that okay? Okay. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Thank you, Brother Usman. I sincerely appreciate your kind introduction. We are discussing a very sensitive and delicate subject today, bullying the children in school. But before I start, let me tell you, Quran is the book of guidance, and I was looking at one ayat which is pertinent to this subject. 1400 years ago, Quran says in Surah Al-Hujurat, O you who have believed, let not people ridicule another people, perhaps they may be better than them. So it is strictly prohibited to insult, ridicule anybody. Now let women ridicule other women, perhaps they may be better than them. And do not insult one another, and do not call each other by offensive nicknames. That's exactly what I'm discussing today. And I was so amazed to see Quran has given a very clear guidance to Muslims, don't do that. So I hope we understand Quran, and that's the guidance we should need to take it. Wretched is the name of disobedience after the faith, and whoever does not repent, then it is those who are the wrongdoers. So with that ayat of Quran, let me go to the main subject today of bulimia. What is bullying? Bullying means it's an aggressive behavior among school children where they use the physical strength or the language, or they have some information about others they use to hurt them, to make them feel bad, and sometimes it is so annoying that it will have a lasting effect on the children. After I gave the introduction, I'm going to ask the children whether they have any experience like this. It includes like teasing, name-calling, taunting, spreading rumors about others, and embarrassing children in front of other children. And nowadays, bullying is done through Twitter, Facebook. For example, you take a Muslim name, one of the classmates said, he's a terrorist, and the Twitter goes to all the friends. Facebook, they're putting that. And that's what the bullying means, not only just directly, but through the social media. And sometimes it can be worse. People use physical hurt, like they kick, they hurt, and not only just now, they take the hijab out, and those kinds of things are happening. Bullying can happen in school building, it can happen on the bus, it can happen on the playground where the kids are playing. So it's unfortunately increasing, and it used to be mostly racial, like black kids were here, insulted, or the Hispanic. But nowadays, it's the Muslims who have the major brunt of this. If a child is exposed to bullying, it will have a serious effects. First of all, of course, for a few days they will tolerate. They say it's kids fighting with each other, things like. But later on, it may cause anxiety and depression. It will definitely affect their grades. So my message, the rest of this, that the parents must be very familiar with this issue, and now they must pay more attention than ever before towards their children. So I will discuss that in a second. And if it is not handled properly, definitely child will suffer from long-term depression, and it will have serious consequences on their emotional health and physical health. Bullying is not something new. I'm familiar with it for last 30 years. The kids tease each other, they make fun of each other, but it used to be like 20% of the kids were involved. The incident became very high after 9/11, that's about 15 years ago, after the World Trade Center was attacked, and there was a height of the number of kids, Muslim kids were called names, and they were hurt, they were insulted. But in 3-4 years later, it's slowed down until last year. Last year, the incident have gone from 20% to 55% of the Muslim children were involved in that. They were hurt. We have done several studies in Maryland, in Chicago area, and I have reports from them when the kids are saying how they were insulted, how they were hurt. For example, some children said, "Oh, they are calling me terrorist." Some said, they are saying, "Did you bring the bomb here?" And then some white students are telling the Hispanic, "Okay, we'll build the ball." Same way, they are telling the Muslim kids, "I think you go back your home, you don't belong here." So this kind of words are more and more we are hearing. Unfortunately, something more happened in last 2-3 years. The teachers are also using bad language, like Taliban raghead, or are you ISIS? So when the teachers are doing that, it becomes very serious, because the kids are looking towards the teacher to get help. But when teachers are themselves involved, it's become a serious problem. And that's where I think we should be very, very cautious, because then children don't know where to turn to. Now I have several examples, but I don't want to take too much time. What I like to do is I will introduce the subject, talk about some of the examples, and tell the parents what to do, and tell the children how they can cope with that, and then we will have some question answers so that I will try and answer that. For example, one high school kid, 17-year-old, she looked at the book, it was last year, and under her name in the yearbook, it says ISIS Philip, and her name was Zohra. So she got very upset. She said, "My name is not," so we went to administrator, and the administration said, "Oh, it's a typographical error. How can you have a typographical error with the clear ISIS Phillips? It doesn't happen that way." So that's very clear. Then there was a Twitter. It says that all Muslims are terrorists. Then there is another Facebook message. We do not trust a Muslim child. We do not trust Muslims. No, they didn't say child. We don't. What is happening is that the day and night, you look at any media, CNN or any kind of a news, they talk about what Muslims are doing, and especially since our presidential election last year, it became worse. They want to register all the Muslims. They are telling they will not take any Muslim immigrant. They want all non-immigrants who are not citizens to leave the country. And the parents talk about this at home, so the non-Muslim kids learn from their parents. And that's exactly what they repeat in the school. So the whole environment become a very, very tricky situation. Last year in Florida, a teacher called a 14-year-old Muslim student in front of all of them and saying that raghead Taliban. One teacher said are you carrying a bomb in your backpack? So, the most sad story I heard, let me just go back, is that one 9-year-old little girl come home and she was crying. And her mother says, "Why are you crying?" She said, "You know my best friends, for last 2 years, since she was in 7-year-old, they were together, they have lunch together, they sit together, they play together. And recently, that friend gave a note to the Muslim girl saying, 'My mother said you cannot be friend with a Pakistani girl.' And that girl was hurting, and this girl was crying. She said, 'She is the only best friend I have in the school.' So this is a very sad thing. I don't know how a mother can say to the young girl that you cannot be friend to the Pakistani. But this is happening because what they are hearing in the news and the media is blaring day and night. And unfortunately, I cannot 100% blame. We try to talk about Islam, peaceful religion, good religion, and suddenly you hear what happened in Germany. And then by the time I finish tomorrow, it could be something else. Again, yesterday or today, I think there was a hijacking of the plane. So what is happening is Muslims are continuously in the news, and media take advantage of that. And they make it worse than what it is. So unfortunately, we just have to face this. And sometimes the girls or boys can even face a serious situation. About 2 years ago, they found a 11-year-old girl hanging because she said, "I cannot stand the teasing." Of course, she was unconscious and she's saved. But it could take a serious consequence also. Another story I heard, a 14-year-old young girl was teased. Not only her hijab was taken away, but she was kicked, and they take her telephone, and she had a bodily injury. By the time the police come, she was already has to be taken to the hospital. So sometime, luckily it doesn't happen very often, but occasionally the kids can be hurt very seriously. So the bullying, unfortunately today, is becoming a serious problem in school. And I'm not seeing that it is going to go down any sooner, because every day we are hearing wrong propaganda about Muslims and Islam in this country. Now, the parents have to play a very important role, a very significant role. And that is that they have to recognize that something is happening in the school and child is suffering. Many children don't tell initially to the parents anything. They thought that it's teasing, the kids tease each other and all that. So you have to watch it. Make sure that they are not showing any fear of going to school. They didn't come home with any bruises. They didn't come home with the torn clothes. And they are not complaining like headache, stomachache before they go to school, or frightened to go in the bus. So watch for this very carefully. And sometimes, if you see the child is not happy, then sometimes you can ask directly, is the school is okay? In fact, every day, every other day, just spend a few minutes. Suppose if the child look very down, look depressed, look like tears, but doesn't a thing about it, my suggestion is take them to the ice cream shop. Just let them have a very pleasant environment, give them the ice cream, just then you talk about it. Is there everything is okay? Is the teachers are okay? Is the kids are okay? Is there anybody hurting you, calling name? There is no harm in asking these questions, because that's the only way you will know what has been happening. And if you hear something, then you need to tell the child what to do, and we have here 4-page information about all the parents, how to train children to cope with this situation. We will distribute after my lecture. And I have also given you at the end of the lecture some very important information about telephone numbers you have to call. So anytime you hear, the first step is you need to talk to the teacher. Now, how you talk to the teacher is, don't go there and say, I have a complaint. My suggestion is go there and say, I need your help. Because once you use the word help, it put them in a listening position. Complaint means they are defensive. And sometimes you come and say, oh yeah, kids, fight all the time. So when you say help, then they listen to you, then you say, look, my child was very happy, doing okay, and suddenly I see he's coming home, he's crying, he's depressed, he's not happy, and I saw the bruise sometime, and this. Whatever you find from the child, share it with them. If you find the teacher is not very attentive and brushing off, then the next step is talk to the counselor. And if you are still not satisfied, you have a right to go to the principal and really lodge a complaint that my child has this issue and I need to really get some help what to do with this situation. There should be a bullying program in every school. By law, the school must help you in controlling that, making sure this does not happen in the school. So that's you are right, and you should go there. But I have another suggestion. Unfortunately, in the past, now our parents are more involved than in the past. In the past, parents never involved that much in the school activities. They don't go to parent-teachers, meetings. Now they started. I think now you need to take one more step, get more involved. Become volunteer. If you are not working, become volunteer to the school library. Go there at least once a week and help the library. Become volunteer at the cafeteria. You can do that. And tell the counselor or teacher or principal that someday you want to talk about all the class about Islam. And they will let you do that. Tell them what is the similarity between all the religions are, especially the Abrahamic religion, how we respect Jesus, how the Virgin Mary's story is more in the Quran than even in the Bible. Because they don't know that. When you start taking this language and telling the names of Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, and what, they feel that you are more knowledgeable. They don't feel strange from you. Otherwise, they think you are a different kind of a cult because they don't know that. So make them know. Anytime Eid come, take the cookies. Say we have a Eid festival, and I brought the cookies for the class. Because that's how we become more integrated with the main community here. So two suggestions I am giving to the parents. First, if once you see bullying, it's your responsibility to go to the teacher, counselor, principal. Second thing is, even if you don't see the bullying, we must become part of the major community, talk about Islam, show your face everywhere in the library, in the kitchen, in the games. Wherever your child is playing, go and participate. Be part of that. So that way, people know, oh yeah, I know the Muslim, they're okay, they're nice people. So that's very important. Then, now this is my last part, and then we will take a question answer. The last part is that how we prepare the children to cope with the bullying. First of all, tell the child to be very confident. When they go to school, they should always keep a straight face, a straight head. Don't look down, don't look like meek. Show the self-confidence and show the positive image. And become aware of your surroundings. Like if the child sees the other children are teasing, then the best thing is leave the situation. Don't stay there. Like a group of kids are just insulting, leave. But when you're leaving, just say, okay, bye-bye, we'll see you later. Smile. So you are giving the message, you're talking the insulting way, it doesn't affect me, I'm leaving. So that is a very positive image, and that shows a self-confidence. And this is very important, and this is going back to what I said earlier in the Quran. Tell your children they must never insult somebody else, no matter what happens. It's against our religion. We cannot use bad words, we cannot insult, we cannot tease, we cannot use bad words on the Facebook, we cannot use bad words on the Twitter. So Muslim children should never involve in bullying. Believe me, Muslim children have been involved, and of course the number is very less, but it did. So we have a responsibility to tell our children not to get in that kind of a behavior. So we cannot be disrespectful, we cannot use vulgar language and all those things. If the child is confronted with a bad situation, and you can simply instruct them, prepare them to say, stop it, I think you are hurting my feelings. That's not fair. That's prejudiced statement. I think they should clearly say that and then walk away. So there are two ways we can do that. If you think earlier you recognize, you just walk with a smile, say, okay, we'll see you, bye-bye, we'll see you tomorrow, do well. But if they really persisted, then you can say, stop it, and then you can walk away with that. One more thing I need to do. Whenever children are involved in this kind of a thing, if you make very clear, no, we are not going to tolerate, simply say, stop it. And if they don't stop teasing, insulting, then you say, look, if you don't stop, I'm going to shout. The other kid may not like that, because they want to tease it, but they don't want to get caught. So use your voice. Tell the children, if it comes to the worst situation, shout. Oh, I need help, they're hurting me. And always seek help from the teachers. Don't hesitate to say, if some kids, 3-4 kids hurting one boy or girl, he has the right to go to the teacher, counselor, and this is where the parents' role comes. They have to train them to do that. So they can go. And another thing is that develop some positive skills. See, for example, some kids say that we don't want a Muslim kid in our team. We don't want black kids. We don't want Hispanic kids. It can happen. We don't want Muslim kids. So if that happens, then you can simply learn how to cope with that and how to tell the child that, look, I am part of the team and I want to be playing in that game. And if they say, there are too many kids already, we don't want you. He said, no, there is one more kid, doesn't matter. So it's insistence that I want to be part of you. No, you are good enough. Then you say, no, but I can practice and I can be good in that. So what happens is, whenever a child hears something negative, he needs to prepare to repeat his words in a positive term so that they know that he's not going to go away easily. Let me just... Okay. Another thing is, the child must do one more practice. Suppose if the child is told that you're stupid, they have to think in their mind to say, but I'm smart. So any negative thing they hear, what I call throw it in the trash can. It means that whenever you hear something negative, you're bad. No, I'm good. So whatever the bad comments they're making, don't let this affect you. You protect yourself. So I have given, there are 4 pages here, because I didn't want to take too much time here, because I know it's getting late. So if you read this, there are 4 pages of instruction how a mother or father should train their children under this negative environment. So whenever a child is said anything negative, immediately he should throw it away and say, no, I am good. What they are saying is not correct. So that will keep their self-confidence. Otherwise, they will start believing in it. Just like you say, if you tell enough lie, people believe that. So same thing will happen. If you tell somebody continuously putting down, they think they are not good. So as a parents, we have to support their ego. We have to support their, give them the strength that don't believe that. So what I like to do, if it is okay with you, just conclude that with a couple of things. First thing is, remember, this I'm addressing to all children, you are not alone. First of all, believe in God. God is with you. God is protective. Then your family, your school, your community is very supportive. And it will protect you from the harm. So we have to tell very clearly to the children, first believe in God. God is all protective. Then our community, our masjid, our school, they're all supportive. And law is with you, because bullying is against the law. So I think the children should know that. So if any harm, emotional, psychological or physical, ever heads your way, do good and good will return to you. So don't be disheartened. Don't feel that you are left alone, and make sure that we will all be here. Now, this particular slide I have sharing with you is our civil rights and community resources. You are all aware of the care office. It has a number there. Now, I don't think we have enough copies, but I have made some copies, and Brother Usman will give you more copies of this later on. This not only has the number of the care, but it has the number of FBI. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, I had a long meeting with one of the special agents, and he said, Dr. Ahmed, bullying is against the law, and if anybody is involved, call our office. We will make a note and do whatever best we can. Then there is also a website, and it says 20 things, that's the last one, schools can do to prevent hate incidents against Muslim and other minorities. About 3 weeks ago, I was invited to participate in a conference call with a White House special advisor on the subject of bullying. And he gave me this information, that even though, this is very important, even though the administration will change on 20th of January, the new president will take over, but there is a permanent staff on the civil rights. And those staff are not going to change. They're lawyers, and they will continue to support as long as the law is supporting the civil rights. So don't hesitate. The more we call them, the more we inform them, the better protection you will have. So, in summary, there are three things I mentioned. Unfortunately, the incident of bullying has increased quite a bit. We should be all familiar with it. Second thing is I give you some examples of different kinds. Third thing is parents must play a very important role. First, inform the administration if you see bullying. Second thing is get involved so that Muslims has a positive image in the school environment. Then I have told you about in detail how the child should be prepared. So I couldn't give you a lot of examples, but we have the 4-page document which will be circulated, and that will help you. So that's where I end, and I have about another 15-20 minutes, and I will be happy to answer any question you have. But before we do that, there are a lot of children here. Tell me, anybody has any experience? Anybody tease you or make any remarks about to you? Any girls or boys? Anybody has any experience?
Okay. Yes. So we'll take some questions now. If anyone has any questions or want to clarify, yes.
When somebody tells you to say, like, when you say stop it to somebody, doesn't it give like a vibe that you're getting bothered by it? So it sort of tells the bullies to keep on doing it.
So when they say stop it, so when the student says stop it, doesn't the person who's bullying recognize that you're being affected by it? So doesn't it increase their bullying? Is that the question? Does it increase the bullying by saying stop it?
No. I'm glad you asked that question because it seems like you had some experience. First thing is that if you hear one or two comments, oh, why you are putting this hijab, or you're Muslim, you should go home, first say that, look, I'm here, I live here, this is my home. Very clearly, with a smile, very clearly say that. But if the tease continues, if they do not stop, if they continue to bother you, then I think you have to say, stop it. And when you say stop it, it doesn't mean that they will be more. No, it will tell them that you are offended with your remarks, and I want you to stop it. That shows your courage, your confidence. That's the reason. Then the last thing you do, if that still continues, you better move. So the 3 steps. First, just start it and say with a smile, why you make comments here, that's my home, I live here, that's my dress, and I like to wear this hijab. I mean, you should be very confident. But if they continue, you say stop. But if it continue further, then you move away from the environment. Okay? So never show that you are frightened. Show your confidence. That's very important. Anybody else? Now, of course, if parents want to ask any question, I mean, I'm just trying to encourage the children, because in the last seminar I had, a lot of kids really came out, and especially the girls came out and asked a lot of questions. So I don't want them to hesitate about it. But anybody has any question or need any help or any question related to this subject, please let me know. And also, I have an article in the Horizon on the Islamophobia and how it is affecting our children. So you can distribute some of this too later on. Yeah, I mean, there are not enough copies, but some.
So, bullying is not just limited to your religion, or how sometimes it's basically how you look or how your physique is. Some are overweight, some are skinny, some are tall, some are short. So bullying has kind of a greater meaning, just not religion.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot as well.
You want to, because if you can explain everybody.
Okay, so even if you're Muslim, you can still be bullied about things that are not related to your being Muslim, like your size, your weight, your height. So it can still happen. So.
I think that's a good question. As I mentioned to you, the bullying is nothing new. People bully because of the color of the skin, size, sometimes disability. Sometimes, a child has a problem with the walking, and people tease them. So that is true. What my concern is that in last 2 years, it is increased tremendously. Instead of 20%, now 50-60% of the kids are involved, and most bullying is done against Muslims. But even Muslims can be bullied because of their color of their skin, because of their name, because of their dress, because of the way they walk. Anything can happen. But when they categorically talking, you Muslims, you raghead, just like that in Irving, the child brought the clock, and they say, oh, it's a bomb, they call the police. That's the kind of things we are seeing more and more now. Let me give the example. In one school in Texas, they were watching a movie in the afternoon. Sometimes they play some comedy for the kids. And one Muslim guy was laughing. And teacher said, why are you laughing? He said, yeah, it was funny. He said, no, the terrorists don't laugh. Now, that's not she was cynical, but that's not the way to address a young child. That's the kind of a concern I have. And he was very offended with that. What's the meaning of how she called the terrorists? And when you hear this, it's your responsibility to contact and say, this needs to be stopped. And the more we get involved, you can see we'll control that. But you're right, the bullying has been there for a long time, and it is for any reason. It's color of the skin, size, and disability, different ethnic group. Just now the Hispanic kids are bullied. And they were clear, oh yeah, we will throw them out and we will build the wall, because everybody heard that Mr. Trump is building the wall. So the kids are learning from their parents. The parents are the one who is talking about it. So they come and reflect that in school. But on the other hand, if we give a positive image in a school about Islam, the kids may go back and tell the parents that, look, I heard that the people like us. So I'm hoping that the kids may change the parents' mentality. That's a possibility. Any other question? Did the ladies have any experience, or any gent has any experience with a child coming back with any complaints from the school? If not, then I say that that's very good. The school system is doing better here than some other places. And especially, in the suburb, the schools are always better than the urban schools. because the urban schools are very, very tough. Yes, you have another question. Yeah, go ahead, tell him, and then you can repeat the question. Yeah.
So I'll just kind of summarize that. So lots of people, if a child hears that a parent is being bullied, or they're saying things about their parent, what do they do?
If the child hears that the parents,
It hears insults about their own parents. How do they defend their parents?
now let me just be clear about, if the child is saying the parents are
No. They're bullying the child's parents.
or the parents are bullying the child.
Yeah, the kids are bullying the child and making fun of their parents.
A child is bullying in front of the parents.
The child is telling the other child,
Yeah.
your parent is this or that.
Okay, yeah, but it's the same thing. If the child is criticizing the parents, your parents are this, your parents are terrorists, or your parents are this, I think it's bullying. It is bullying. It's a serious thing. First of all, you have to very clearly say, no, my parents are not. But the reason they're saying, because that's what they hear on television, that's what their parents are talking about it. So they're not blaming you, but they're blaming your parents in front of you. So you have to defend them. You have to defend them. No, that's not correct. I think you have a misunderstanding. And that's the reason, that's exactly the reason what you just said. I told parents to go to the school, show their face, tell them that they're nice people, tell them they are volunteering in the cafeteria, tell them they should volunteer at the library, go to the games, so that they will have a positive image about Muslim, and this will not happen. But your question is very correct.
And I was just
I'm
thinking.
glad you had both questions.
Yeah, I was thinking about the other question that you were asking, and just to emphasize that, when you see, like, if there's a tiger and there's a small animal, and or a dog, say, for example, and the animal seems scared, then that dog gets much more confident, and it's more likely to attack the small animal. And it's the same thing. So you really want to show your confidence and that you're not being bothered, even though you might be bothered inside. And when you say, I would really like you to stop, it's not necessarily showing that it's coming from a position of strength. And you want to do it confidently, assertively, but not out of fear. And that's even if you feel a little bit afraid inside, that's something you don't have to tell them. You can tell your parents or a teacher.
I think there are three things I want to repeat again. First thing is, if people are just calling name and you think it's not hurting you that much, so you just can smile and just say, no, don't call me the name, things like this, just like more friendly way. But if somebody is bullying and they are vicious, just like you give the example of tiger and dog, then I think you have a serious problem. And then you have two choices. First choice, my suggestion is, if you can walk away from that. Just change the seat. If you are with the one group, go and change to the second group. If that's possible, I think that's advisable to walk away from there. Because you cannot take the stand. And there are sometimes vicious kids. They're very vicious kids. So it's better to just walk away. And what I said is, when you're walking away, don't show that you are frightened. Show, okay, bye-bye, we'll see you later. I can see you tomorrow. Or I'm just changing the seat, that's better place. Whatever word you can use. But if they're not leaving you alone, then you have to stand up. Even if you are weak. If you stand up, you said, if you don't stop, I'm going to tell the teacher. And if still they don't stop, and you cannot walk away, then you can really, I need help. You can say that. Oh, they're teasing me. I need somebody. The other kids will come. And there is a possibility that they don't want that scene to be created. Because the other kid, in school there is a rule. If you get somebody tease you, you start fighting with them, they suspend both of them. They don't say who is right, who is wrong, who started, because it's impossible. But they don't know who started. Although sometimes teachers know what happened, who is bullying. But as a rule, they suspend both. So it's better. That's the reason I said fighting is the last resort. Avoiding is the first resort. Just avoiding, or just saying in a present way, departing, or just telling to stop it, that's fine. But once you start fighting, then you are also had a risk of getting suspended and so on and so forth. So, any other question? But I hope you got the message and you got the information. And this, I think, these are the, yeah, you can make some copies and put it in the ladies section and here later on, because this is very important, the one which is on the now, because it has the numbers and it also has the information from the government what is school's responsibility is. So if you are not getting help from the teachers, you are not getting help from the school principal, you can show them what the government is saying, what their responsibility is. And also at the bottom of that circular, you have a website. You can go to that website and they give you some more directions about how to cope with this behavior. So my concern is that before it become more serious, because I am really concerned that it might become worse than before it become better. So I want you to be prepared, to be strong, to face that, to cope that. Remember, this is our country. We are going to live here. We have to stand together with unity so that we can cope better. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
What if, you're eating lunch?
Mm-hmm.
It's like biryani or something like that, like Pakistani food, and you start making fun of it.
Yeah.
So if you bring lunch and you bring Pakistani food and they start making fun of your food, what do you do?
Again, anytime they make fun of your food, your clothes, your looks, your name, all these things called bullying. It means they're teasing you, correct? First of all, if they say, oh, you're eating this dirty food, just say, no, I love it. I mean, you have to simply throw out what they say. You say, I love it, that's why I brought it. You want to taste it? So it becomes like you're showing confidence that you're not affected by their teasing. You stand up on your feet. You're saying, oh yeah, that's my mother makes such a delicious food. I love it, so I brought it here. Oh, you want to eat it? Ah, that's dirty. I mean, they make a face. It's okay. But you show because once you show that, they will know. But what you crying? Oh, he's teasing me. He says my food is back. Then they will tease you more. So it's better to stand up on your feet, say that I love this food. Anytime they make a negative comment, oh, you stupid? No, I'm smart. So you have to. No, you don't know how to do this. Yeah, I know how to do this. So any negative comment you hear, bad food? No, that's good. So throw in the trash can, something they say negative, and say, no, I'm.
So there's a kid at my school makes lies about me. How can I convince the principal he's lying?
So there's a kid at the school who is lying about the student. So what does he do? How does he convince the principal that those are lies?
Okay, that's it's a good question, but it's a difficult question, because when somebody is lying, then what happens? The principal has the same difficulty. Who is telling the truth? That's the reason I mentioned to you. But if you are very clear what he is lying about, and if you say that, look, this is not what happened, this is what happened, and this the kid this, the teacher understands. So don't hesitate going to the teacher, going to the counselor, and saying, he is lying about me. Okay? So remember one thing. If it only happened once, forget about that. But these things happen repeatedly. Your job is to go to the teacher and tell that he's spreading the lies about me or he's telling me lies. And teachers understand. And then, remember, come and tell your parents. So if the parents know about this, they will talk to the teacher. So my take-home message is, always, anything happen in school, come and talk to the parents. Okay? Now this little...
Yeah,
I was
okay.
saying something.
Yes, so... And always remember that no matter what, Allah Ta'ala knows the truth.
Like at the school, like at the backpack, and like the school, like my brother, a big one, and like another one, was called a backpack, and like Wednesday, the like that one. Like another one.
Okay.
And the two papers to like school. And
So, okay, great. So we can talk to you a little bit more. Okay. Do you have your parents are here? Okay. So I'm not quite sure. I caught the gist of the question, but very good. It's good that you're talking. All right. Good question.
My brother gets bullied because he has big eyes at school, and when he tells the teacher about it, the teachers don't listen to him.
So, her brother gets bullied because he has big eyes, and so when he tells the teacher doesn't listen to him.
That's what I just mentioned. That talk to the parents. The quick answer is, always tell your parents what happened in the school. Okay? And tell the parents that you did tell the teacher, she doesn't do. It happens. And I mentioned in my presentation that when teachers themselves bullying, themselves using bad words, themselves telling somebody raghead, IS, then what can kid do? And that's where the parents play a very significant role. It's their responsibility. Their job is to inform the principal. Every school must have an anti-bullying program, and you must demand that something need to be done. So if the teacher, she is very clear. That's what I just said, talk to the teacher, and she's saying, teacher is not doing anything. Then I think talk to the mom and dad. Then what happens if mom and dad go with you to the teacher and tell exactly what you experience? I think teacher will pay more attention to that. They can even go to the counselor, they can call one of the numbers here, and I think we can get things done. So remember, there is a whole community behind you. And I suggest administration that have a school board meeting here in this mosque. Just tell them that we like the school board to come here, arrange for their dinner or something, and they will come if you arrange the dinner and something like this, and have the meeting. Because that way, we Muslims have to get out of our house, out of our mosque, and mix with the main community. Because we are here, we are citizens here. We need to do that. So let the school board come. That way, people will know you. People will know how your child is experiencing. And then what happens next time when you go to the board or when you go to the teacher, I think they will listen to you better. So Okay. I mean, these kids are excellent.
Yeah.
In fact, they're better. Many parents don't tell, but they are the one, because they are the one who is facing. And I will tell you, these are just a few examples. There are a lot of kids facing. They're not telling their parents. They're not telling teachers. They're not telling anybody. So I'm encouraging you to please be open with the kids. Tell them to tell anything happen in school so that you are prepared. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Ahmed, for coming.
I appreciate
Okay.
the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. We're going to make some copies and leave them at the front.